Epic Gaming Night is sponsored by Tasty Minstrel Games. Make sure to check out the Tasty Minstrel podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. This podcast is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Thanks for your support. One. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Roy Canny, and with me, as always, is Matt.
Forgot to unmute again. That's fine.
And Rob.
No technical difficulties this time.
What's up, man?
I love that the intro is playing and like right through the middle of it, Matt's like, oh yeah, like you can just hear it. It's awesome. Cool. But yeah, so today, since this episode is airing a little bit before Halloween, we're going to be talking about spooky games.
Love it.
But yeah, before we get into that, we're going to talk a little bit about the news and what we've been playing. I've got a ton of stuff on the news. I actually added another thing, which I'm actually super excited about, that we'll get to when I get to that.
Freaking Joan of Arc Kickstarter, where
that's what
you
Rob's
now
gonna
can
add.
siege a castle. Did you see that? It's one of the add-ons. It comes with a whole castle.
Like a legitimate castle?
Yeah, like you build the walls, you put it together. There's
like made out of stone and everything too?
I don't know if it's all that, but then
dude,
it comes
all
with
the other stuff that's in the
catapults
Kickstarter, I wouldn't be
and the
surprised. They're
trebuchets.
like, we're literally going to come to your house and build a castle made out of stone for you to
Tell you
house
what,
all
man,
your
as
tiny
much
plastic
as I've spent on
miniatures
this
in.
Kickstarter, they might. It bothers me because now I'm like, crap, why do I need a Song of Ice and Fire Kickstarter?
I
like
feel
this-
like they're going to play very differently. This is going to be a lot more scenario adventure based.
Well, I'm going to keep both of them, but like, this is the miniature game that I wanted. I wanted the buildings. I want the like the cart being carted by the bull and stuff like that. Like I wanted the people. I wanted the like I wanted to be 10 again with my army men. And I feel like this will allow me to be.
I
my little
feel
kid
like
again.
that's what like so many of these miniatures games is like just wanting to be a kid again and play with all the little cool figures. 'Cause that's how I feel like when I play miniatures games. I'm like, yeah, look, I'm setting up the little guys.
But if you back the Kickstarter now and not even do any of the expansion stuff with it, you're gonna get like over 370 miniatures.
Yeah. I was talking to Trevor about it, and Trevor's like, Rob knows they're like teeny tiny miniatures, right? I'm like, yeah, he's seen the pictures, he knows. So he's just pumped.
I'm just pumped.
Awesome. Well, one of the other things we want to talk about in the news is that the Game Toppers Kickstarter is like ending super soon. So if you're live with us in chat, it probably hasn't ended yet. So if you haven't seen the table or the Game Toppers Kickstarter, we played with it at Dice Tower Con, and they had a bunch of them at Gen Con. Lots of people were using it. It's just an inexpensive way to get an awesome looking game table that's portable. So if like, hey, you're gonna have a game weekend at your friend's like cabin, you can take the Game Topper with you and have a cool game topper, which maybe that'll happen some year, but you know. But yeah, so make sure to go check out Berkey's Game Topper Kickstarter. He's a friend of the show, so go over there and check
I'll
that
also
out.
say those were the game toppers that we used at the Dice Tower Con, right?
Yep.
They're
all
phenomenal.
sorts of accessories and all that stuff. So
They are really great. I mean, so many people thought they were customized tables. Nope, they just fit on top of your regular ugly table, your regular ugly convention table. And they were strong, they were solid. And I bumped into it several times. Never once did I have to worry about something falling over or anything like that. I mean, really good quality stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, make sure to check those out because you don't have much time left. So I know the Kickstarter is doing pretty awesome over there. So I'm excited for Kevin. So awesome. I want to see what you guys think of this next one. WizKids and Games Workshop are going into a partnership together. So we all know that Games Workshop used to do games with Fantasy Flight, and I'm thinking that Fantasy Flight ended the connection there, so they could do miniatures game stuff or something like that. And then now Games Workshop has been licensing out to other people. Well, now they're going to be partnering with WizKids, and they've already said that they're going to be doing Relic and Fury of Dracula for Games Workshop, and I'm sure there's going to be other things down the line. So it's kind of interesting.
I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, they can't really screw up.
I bet there could be like some Warhammer like dice games in there. Dice Masters. I want to see what some Necron dice look like. They can give me some like transparent black and green dice. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, but
they're just going to come out with all sorts of different stuff.
Like,
I'm sure they're not really going to... I mean, they could have board games with miniatures in it, but I'm sure they're not going to make like Warhammer Clicks or anything. I'm sure they'd be too close to the...
Oh my
stuff,
gosh,
right?
if they did Warhammer Clicks...
You're not going to assume that they're just going to make really cheap 40K minis for the children's?
That would be cool, though, if they did
Right.
Warhammer Hero Clicks.
Yeah.
So.
Come get your blind bag. It's only $5. You get Space Marine number 4. Yeah. He's got the power fist.
I must say, I'm not sure if $5 a miniature would be more expensive or less expensive than normal Warhammer. It's pretty much about the same. Actually,
Yeah.
It's probably cheaper depending on the miniature.
They also probably come pre-painted. Because
Right.
it's kids, so...
And
That is one thing that is nice about them. They do kind of have everything put together for you.
yeah, the HeroClix stuff is okay. It's not like the best paint jobs ever, but the Assault of the Giants pre-painted looks like really good. Like I played with the Assault of the Giants game with those pre-painted miniatures. Like they have those upgraded versions. Like you can get Assault of the Giants regular version and it's unpainted and everything. But if you get the pre-painted version, like the paint jobs on those are actually pretty nice. So they can do a good job if there's like a specialized product for those pre-painting things. So who knows? It'll be interesting to see what else they can come out with. So WizKids has some solid games, so it'd be cool. Awesome. Well, this next one is Pandemic Legacy Season 2 was announced to be released at Essen. I don't know if you guys have watched any of the Dice Towers reviews for Pandemic Legacy Season 2, but I'm super excited about it.
You know what I'm excited about?
What?
I didn't pre-order my copy through Cool Stuff, and so the company that I did pre-order it through emailed me today and said that it's already shipped out, so that it will be here on release day, kind of like an Amazon pre-order. And I was like, oh man,
That's awesome.
And this comes from...
Where'd you get it from?
I think it's called Game Nerds with like a Z.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was through Amazon?
No, it just has the same like pre-order shipping profile that Amazon does. Like if it comes out on X day, they ship it to you early so that you get it by X day.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I was a little perturbed because I pre-ordered First Martians and Rhino
forever
Heroes
to come in.
Battle through Cool Stuff, and I only got them like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, my hype's kind of died down a bit, but thanks.
Well, for First Martians, I get it. Rhino Hero, never.
Oh yeah, no, it's when that came in, it was just like, oh cool, this will be here. It's fine,
Bro, it's like, it's almost, never mind, I can't say what it's almost like. It's good.
Awesome. But yeah, Pandemic Legacy Season 2 looks exciting. They said that it can diverge a lot more than the regular one. So it's not as linear, like the path of the story and stuff like that. Like you have a lot of exploration, and they said the game doesn't feel as repetitive.
Do you have to have played the first season?
They suggested that you do, but they say you don't have to. I've listened, like we played like halfway through the first thing. Matt played all the way through it.
Yeah.
And then I ended up listening to spoiler podcasts about it because I'm like, I feel like I kind of ruined the game for myself having not played it the right way. And since Matt played it, they played it, then I was just like, I'm probably not going to play the first one with anybody, so I'm just going to listen to this. So I would be excited to jump into the second season just because it's a lot, it's more, how do I say this? It's a lot different than Pandemic is. So Pandemic Legacy added a bunch of things to Pandemic to make it, change it and make it more exciting and change it in different ways. Well, this diverges from Pandemic even more and lets you do a lot more options. And the Dice Tower crew unanimously said that it is better than the first Pandemic Legacy, which it's number 1 on Board Game Geek. So if it's better than that, you know, solid.
I don't know though if it'll get the same love.
We'll see. I guess it probably, a lot of people won't necessarily be willing to try it if they hadn't tried the first Pandemic.
Well, but that, and also like Pandemic Legacy was like so brand new. Like,
right? Yeah, I'm sure.
That
I'm sure it's
concept
not
is out
going to
now.
get that high on the
Yeah.
Board Game Geek ratings, but we'll see. We'll see.
see.
But I'm more excited to try this out than I was to like go back and play season 1 or anything like that.
I'm with you on that. I just hope Matt's nice enough to maybe one day play a game with us.
Maybe we should get a copy, Rob. We'll
just get a
play
copy.
play in the afternoons every once in a while.
Hey,
I was gonna say,
afternoons Thursday if you want to play.
Let's do it.
I was gonna say half the time when you guys are available, I'm not, and vice versa. So it's just like,
Yeah. Jobs. Ugh.
yeah.
I don't think AJ likes me anymore. I haven't heard from AJ. I follow his cake stuff.
He's just been busy.
Cake escapades.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I'd be busy too if I didn't want to be around me.
Oh no, man, it's not that.
And Hector, I miss Hector a little.
Man, up until this past weekend, I hadn't seen Hector in like almost a month. It was wild. I was like, oh no.
It's madness.
Hey, side note, are we all going to go see Thor Ragnarok together?
Dude,
We can.
when's it come out?
It's like 10 days, 5 days, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's like the third.
It's like early November.
I would love to see that movie.
I'm going.
It's gonna be
whether-
great.
Whether you guys want to come or not.
Awesome. Well, this next one I thought was pretty interesting. I know they just came out with Twilight Imperium 4th edition. Well, Eclipse is coming out with a 2nd edition. So they're
Hey.
taking Eclipse
That
and
would be cool. I've never played the first one. Hopefully they like redo the ships and stuff like that.
I
Because weren't
still
you
like
guys saying that?
Eclipse.
Like it was all
Yeah.
like cubes or
So
Oh, yeah.
there's a bunch of cubes and stuff, but the ships are very like blocky, and all the
it
ships are the
does
same.
not come out tomorrow. Maybe in Australia. Sorry.
I was gonna say, it
We're talking
might.
to Ashley, the board game girl, who's absolutely amazing.
Australia gets them early releases.
Yes.
But yeah, so Eclipse, the new version, they're gonna redo the graphic design and like spruce it up and make it look more modern. And then there's a ship pack in the original version that has all these like custom ships for each one of the alien races. So they're taking the ship pack from that and putting it into the game. So now the core set comes with all different alien race ships. So every single ship is going to be different for the different alien races. And they're just going to try to make it look nicer. I think they're supposed to have, they're supposed to be doing demos of the new edition at Essen. So I really like Eclipse. Some people are like, oh, well, it's just like a Eurowear 4X game, but I really enjoy the economy and stuff in it, and I'd like to get it to the table more. I'd like to play more my copy, but there's so many huge games, it's hard to pick and choose which big games we play.
And that one takes up a ton of table space.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
it
if you think
kills the
Twilight
table.
Imperium does, this one takes up so much more.
Well, Twilight Imperium, like, you build the map and you, like, know where it's going. In
Yeah.
Eclipse, the map expands as you go, so it can just continue to eat more and more table as you play the game,
Like,
which is
when-
awesome.
When we played, Rob, it was literally a table stacked on top of a table, because the first table was all of our like economy boards and all of our ship design boards and all that stuff.
Yep.
And then the map was on like an entirely different table, elevated to.
That's
It was. It's pretty crazy.
Don't die, Rob. Don't die.
Oh man.
Cool. And
This thing, man, I've been sick.
this next one might be the one that I'm most excited about or most interested
Roy
in
doesn't
seeing,
care.
seeing you guys' opinion about.
I'm good.
But this, Rob, are you okay? Co-host down. Co-host down.
You only said that now. I'm suing the podcast.
What did you do? Did you eat a hot pepper?
No, I've had this cough.
Oh.
I've been coughing for a month and a half now, and now whenever I cough, my throat literally closes shut, and I can't breathe for like a good 15 seconds. And it's just, you're not here for me, Adam. You're too busy taking pictures of all these people, and you're posting your happy pictures, and you're all happy with your life, and you're not here.
With
You're
his
not
with
here at
his
all.
scented beard oils.
And yeah, your scented beard oils, which we do need to jump on that, but you're not here, and I got sick hoping you'd come to my bedside. Still haven't come. AJ hasn't come. Hector hasn't come. Matt came, but then he fell asleep at the movie. It was terrible. Yeah, I've been coughing since before that movie. Remember? Because I coughed throughout the entire movie.
Oh man, that's rough.
I don't remember actually. I was quite comfortable in that recliner.
Well, hopefully that gets better. So this last piece of news is the Fantasy Flight has announced a new studio, Fantasy Flight Interactive, where they're going to be making video game versions of all their board games, and they said it's going to be sort of like Asmodee Digital. This is going to be Fantasy Flight Interactive, and it's not just they're going to Fantasy Flight themselves. The core set is, or the core studio is going to continue to make all their apps for their board games that are going to be like companion apps and stuff like that. This studio is going to be taking their board games and turning them into video game form or app form, like they have with a lot of these like Small World and Splendor and all those different games like that. So I wanted to ask you guys what you guys thought about this, and also.
Idea.
What
dumb.
What Fantasy Flight game would you most want to see turned into an application for Steam
None.
or the phone?
There's better video games out there.
Yeah.
Like if you want like a Twilight Imperium, there are better space galaxy games out there. If you want like a fighting game, there are better fighting strategy games out there. I mean, I think they do great because they stay in their field. If you want to make an app of your game, sure, do something like that. But don't try to make like a competitive electronic game. I doubt
they'll come out with like a full scale retail. Like, check out this desktop PC game. Like, it'll
no. They're trying to like turn their board games into like app versions and stuff like that. That's what Asmodee Digital does.
It's just super. Like, hey man, come buy this game. You like it, play it all the time. But you won't. But you'll spend $5 to $11 on it because you liked it once, and then they basically just made a ton of money for no reason.
I think there's a lot of people out there that love the board game apps and stuff like that. The problem for me a lot of the times is whenever I've gotten a board game app and played it heavily, then I personally don't feel the desire to play the board game as much because it's like, oh yeah, I've played that board game a ton. So I've got so many other board games. It's like, well, I played that one. Let me play one of the other ones I haven't played. So that's kind of what happened to me with like Lords of Waterdeep and like several other apps. I just did a Star Realms tournament. There was a creators tournament where they're having a bunch of different content creators do a tournament, and I won half my games and lost half my games, and now I'm kicked out of the tournament because I didn't do good enough. But
that would be the one that would work for me if it was like a card style. Competitive thing, like if they were to do Asmodee, so that means like they could do an Ashes app and you could play Ashes. Like
well, that's what I was wondering, like their LCGs and stuff like that. Dude, if the living card games got onto the application, like that would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, the Arkham Horror LCG would be pretty solid.
Yeah, if they had the Arkham Horror LCG, I would buy.
Especially since you can play it single player.
Yeah, for sure. Or even the Lord of the Rings LCG, like that would be crazy.
Yeah,
that'd be ridiculously crazy.
I never was a fan of like
board games on
apps. Yeah, on an app, unless
I think it depends on the person. There's a huge market for it out there.
But I don't know. I try to separate the two. Like my board games are my board games. Like let it be a board game. So anyway, that's just good old Happy Robs.
Yeah, for me, majority of the reason that I play board games themselves is for the face-to-face interaction. And then when I play these apps, even if I play them with another one of my friends or someone that I know, it's not the same. It's not the same at all.
Trevor, where did that go? If they're so busy making these apps, where's the freaking Imperial Assault app? Gen Con 2016, Imperial Assault app by November. We never said that. Yes, you did. We have it on video that you said it.
And then 2017, they said, 2017, they said, guys, it's still coming. We're just trying to finish it up, and they haven't really spoiled anything.
I wonder what their issue is. Is it like, you think it's like a licensing thing?
No, because they have the license.
Well, yeah, but then it moves to a different medium, though.
I mean, technically, it's still part of the game, though.
That could be the only issue, if that. But I don't know. I really don't know. I think, honestly, the whole issue with the whole thing is the company itself and what they've been doing and the merging and buying of other companies. And it's like it's not. Well, first of all, the company, I can't remember the name of the company, but the company that owns Asmodee is not even a board game company. And so it's just like it's all numbers. Where before it was like, we're going to make games because we're fans of games and we like this stuff. And not to say that they don't make good games now, but it's just like They're literally just becoming a money grab. They're buying companies, they're pushing stuff out, and they're hurting these companies that they're buying. And to me, I just think it's stupid. And then they're making promises and they can't fulfill or do everything. I don't know.
Yeah, this is really fun for me to watch as a fan of video games because it's basically the same sort of scheme that EA ran, where they were buying up studios like Maxis and Bullfrog and Bio,
Yeah.
these companies, and then running them straight into the ground, and then going, "Oh, you know what, guys? They're not doing so well anymore, so we're just going to get rid of it entirely."
Yeah, we're just gonna shut that whole. Yeah,
Do you realize how many good games those companies made before you bought them? And
Yeah.
and now EA is running with that like super heavy monetization stuff where it's like, all right, the base game's $60. It comes with just multiplayer. If you want the single player, it's $80. If you want this, it's gonna be $120. And then you're like, but don't, just wait. There are crates that you can open
I was gonna
for $5.99 a piece, and it's just like,
I was gonna ask if they're one of the companies that was doing the crate things, trying to trick kids into like gambling at a young age, like maxing out their parents' credit cards by buying crates after crates after crates to get skins for their stuff.
Yeah, Valve did crates a long time ago, and it has been very hit or miss for them. Just because they put out so many that people kind of got burnt out.
I don't.
It was entirely cosmetics, and I feel like a lot of the outcry you hear nowadays is it's like, oh, I opened this crate and I got not a skin but a gun. I got something that alters the gameplay effect, like the gameplay that you experience is altered because you spent money on it. So it just becomes more of a pay-to-win scheme as opposed to a pay-to-play the game type of deal.
I'm really not a fan of any game where you have to get those random things. Where it's like pay money to get the thing and hopefully get the random thing. Like even when I played collectible card games, I never bought booster packs. Like I never bought I didn't even buy cases of booster packs and open them. I never played the lottery and that stuff. I always specifically got the card that I needed, bought that specific card. So I never was like, okay, let me buy however many cases I need to get all these cards and hopefully I can break even on the price that I paid for it. I feel like there's video games that are going into that model of trying to make people addicted to busting open these different crates and stuff like that and draining people's wallets. So I don't know. That's why I don't like collectible games, and I think it's dumb in video games as well. So wah wah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's dumb, and it ticks me off, and I don't care if Kobe doesn't like it, but I'm pissed at what's happened with Plaid Hat, and I don't want to see Asmodee try to do any more of that stupid stuff. The only way I'd forgive them is if they made an LCG Ashes app. That's it. But even now I'm on their store. I'm on the Plaid Hat store, and it's a bunch of possibly coming soon. You can pre-order it. We just don't know when it's coming out. You have all this great stuff, and they can't say anything. Where back in the past, it was like, hey, guys, we're doing X. Why? Because we were in control, and we had the power. And I know he's a business, and he's going to say the nice stuff because he was bought out, and he made a good chunk of change. But still, as a consumer, what's happening to companies like Plaid Hat, it just sucks. And so seeing them try to get more into that, I think it was a great analogy, Matt. It's the EA. They are the EA of the gaming industry.
I just want Lost in Space, man.
Well, look at all the stuff that was happening. I mean, they were constantly if anything, even if they weren't constantly coming out with the games, their PR was on point. You knew when they had stuff coming out, and now it's like, well, we can't say this. Now we can't say this. Now we can't say this. And then here's what hurts the most is they will give you a tease of an idea that looks amazing, right? Like this stuff, Fables, looks absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. Want to get it. Nothing else after that. They're not saying nothing after that.
They posted one thing about it just the other week, Rob.
Okay, but they're not posting about when it's coming out. They're only posting
Q1.
They're only posting. Okay, but every time they've done a quarter release for Ashes so far, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they've been wrong.
Yeah.
They've been wrong. And so it's just like, this is the stupidest thing ever. And now the new Spectrops expansion, I want that, oh my gosh, more than I probably want to touch my left nipple right now. Still, can't get my hands on it. And it may be coming. I mean, this is just absolutely annoying. And I don't care if Colby doesn't listen to the show or if he does listen to the show. I say he should quit Plaid Hat and start Platter Hats or Platter Handbags. Start a new company and just like, come on, man, like, let's get this going. It's not. I'm not going to go into Kickstarter exclusives because I'm a fan of Kickstarter exclusives. But anyway, I'm not a fan of what's going on. And then it's Roy's fault because he brought up, hey, look what FFG's doing. So I'm sorry, I'll stop.
If I could make a naming suggestion for the new Plaid Hat company, it should be Plaid Pashminas, just because it's alliterative and it sounds great.
Nice.
I'd buy their stuff.
Yeah, man.
I just want to say that I would play a WizWar application on my
phone.
phone.
I do. I think that would be one of the ones that
I would do asynchronous play. That would be fun. Well, that'd be hard to do with all the responses in that game. All the timing windows.
Yeah.
Anyway. There's been more difficult video games than that. Whatever.
But that's one of those things that you could play a billion times and just be like, oh, yeah, I can still play this.
Yeah.
It's just off the wall. So you're just like, yeah, all right. 10 out of 10.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I guess we'll get into what we've been playing. I don't know if you guys have gotten any chance to play any games. I got a chance to play a few different things.
I'll let you guys go. I mean, mine's real quick.
Cool. So the first thing I want to talk about is I got a chance to play Whistle Stop with Trevor. Bezier sent a copy to check it out. I really want you to play this one, Matt. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Okay.
But this is the game from Bezier Games, which is, it has this like trains going around a track that feels like Sora of the Seas, as far as like the little paths where there's just crisscrossing things where you're laying tiles down. So the tracks are just all over the place, but your trains are constantly stopping at all these different like resource spots. So you're collecting cubes for your trains, and then you're going through different stations that are like in the middle of the board and getting points specifically with the cubes that you collected. So it's like pick up and deliver, sort of like you're trying to get your train to go here, but then you're also trying to like race to the end to get extra points there as well. It's not super light, but it's kind of like, it's pretty light of a like Euro game where you're getting points and with your little trains. I just like the fact that you're laying down these tiles and kind of setting up the board as you go along. You can also get superpowers for your trains or whatever, so you have extra powers. You can buy upgrades basically, and apparently you can steal them back and forth, even though we didn't do that during our game. First plays of games are always difficult, but it was a lot of fun. I don't mind these like lighter Euros and stuff like that, like family weight type stuff, and that's kind of what this fits into with the simple cube grabbing and sending your trains through, and you're just spending coal to be able to take extra actions to move your trains further and stuff like that. And I think I'm a fan of like the pick up and deliver mechanic in games. Pick up and deliver, where you have to go get certain resources.
You're a fan?
Yeah, Zaya is huge in pick up and deliver, and that's one of my favorite games at all time.
Okay, but I don't consider that. But okay.
I mean, it's huge.
Sorry, it's just those words don't associate with. Yeah, I just immediately think Euro or something like that. I think of like Panamax or something. But okay.
Well, I mean,
well, you're right. You just caught me off guard.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't say, oh my goodness, it's my favorite game ever, but as far as light Euro-y games go, I think it's pretty cool. I haven't played Wasteland Express, and I really want to, but that would be a game that would definitely be right up my alley, I think, as far as pick up and deliver and stuff like that. And I heard you can blast each other in Wasteland Express as well, but I didn't get a chance to play that. Do either of you guys have any games you got to play?
I just wanted to talk real quick about Junk Art. Playing with family, always a blast. If you've not had a chance to play Junk Art, highly recommend playing the game. It is, if cost were not an issue, it would be tied for my #1 dexterity game of all time with Super Runner Hero. Nah, the plastic one, that's stupid. Don't get the plastic one.
You need to get the giant version.
Now that would be great. But I had family in town, and sorry, I can't breathe right now.
I'm sorry.
If they had the giant version, Matt would buy it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely. Do you want me to? I can pick up. Okay. Anyway, so what I was playing, I got a chance to play Ice Cool again because
Hype.
That's a pretty fun game. And then I also played a game that I bought off of a viewer's recommendation. Darth Grader recommended that I buy Vertigo. It's a small dexterity game, fits in a cup, where you're basically trying to balance cards in this ever-growing weave of colors. It's actually really interesting. I'm not good at it, but AJ is great at it. But it was a lot of fun. We played it for probably a solid hour or so. And I mean, the games are really quick. They were like 5 minutes or less, and we were going pretty crazy. But it's a pretty solid game. I thoroughly enjoy it. The components feel pretty good. Got some nice, thick plastic cards.
That's awesome. Great. You definitely have to bring that over. I'd love to try that.
Yeah, we'll do.
So there's specific rules to like placing the cards? Like you have to match colors or something when you place them?
Yeah, so each card is bisected diagonally by 2 different colors. So you have to match... and there are 4 kind of cutouts in each corner where you can slide like the corner of a card into another one so that they kind of like hold themselves at like a weird angle. And so basically you just have to match the colors of the card you're placing to the card you're putting it in, and then try to get it to hold without the thing falling. The thing I like is that it starts out and it's one card that's 4 colors that's literally balanced on top of the little plastic can it comes in on like a swiveling plastic thing.
Oh,
so
crazy.
It can like shift based off the weight of it. So it's really solid. There's I think 2 or 3 different ways to play it. So we tried a couple of different ways. And it was pretty fun. It's pretty solid.
Nice. I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you survive, Rob? You okay, man?
I survived.
I'm glad that Junkard didn't kill you.
It didn't. But you know what did kill me? Not playing games with AJ.
I know, right?
It's all right. You know what, Matt? Tell him I don't even miss him. Tell him I don't even care. You know what,
man,
AJ? If you're listening, don't care, man.
I didn't even think we were going to get to do anything this weekend, and then Ryan just randomly was just like, hey, guys, yeah, I know I said I don't have the weekend off, but I do. And I was like, this is my moment. So.
Yeah. No, that's all right. One day I will be invited to the pizza party, and we'll play.
Yeah, man.
We'll be friends
again. So here's what I'm banking on, right? One day we're going to go to the cabin, and I'm just going to do a ton of stuff, right?
Let's go.
Tomorrow.
I can't just show up at your cabin alone.
Bro, okay, real quick, side note. You won't be alone. My mom will be there. Because like she goes up to the cabin every weekend. It's like her away from home. And you think she's going to like rock your world, and she will, but not in the way that you think. She will have you do so many chores around that place. You will pick up so many rocks and sticks, and you'll work with honeybees, and you'll get your hands dirty. You'll plant. It's like a little farm now.
Solid.
Yeah, it's not even a cabin anymore. It's like it's a house that's a little farm.
I'm mildly concerned though. Like if I just show up to a cabin and I have like my head poking in like a window, like this facade is typically not what you want to see out in the woods, because you get that sort of like Brian.
My mom's been lonely for a while. If you
know, it's just like. Well, it's just you get to the what was that movie, The Strangers, with the people with the burlap bags over their faces. Yeah. It's just like, hey, how you doing, neighbor? Got a knife? Everything's fine. Here we go. And it's like, not talking to this guy. He is creepy.
Spooky.
Ooh, spooky. Like spooky games.
I did want to talk about one more thing real quick before we go into our topic. I got a chance to play Downfall, the prototype that is currently on Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah. How is it?
This is the 4X post-apocalyptic Civ game. We got a few things wrong, so I definitely want to play it again before I give like a full-out opinion on the game, because some of the things we got wrong are pretty major, I feel like. But it's hard when games are still in flux a little bit. But I love like the way the game looks and stuff, but this game is brutal. I've heard from a lot of people that have played the prototype that that they actually ended the game in negative points, which was ridiculous, because there's radiation that starts beside you right at the beginning, and you're trying to figure out how to get oil and minimize radiation, but also get enough food to feed your people. And if you don't like feed your people mechanics and losing points for people dying and not taking care of your stuff, this game is going to be pretty brutal for you. But it's the engine of simultaneous actions every single turn. You're doing these different actions and doing them simultaneously and trying to figure out how to best min-max your resources and get rid of radiation and get food and expand. I also feel like a 3-player game, you end up super cramped so that there's a lot more radiation on the board. If you're playing in a higher player count game, the radiation won't be as close together, so that way you can kind of like not have your neighbor's radiation encroaching on your territory as much. But it's fun. Like there's all these different events that pop up, and it all feels very much like you're playing a game in the post-apocalypse, and it's very much a survival game. So it didn't give me as much of that 4X feel of like, I build up all my troops and I expand my empire and I build up more of my troops and I do stuff. You do get to get technologies that help you be more efficient with your different stuff, which the technologies are actually really cool, and the action selection in this is really awesome as well. So definitely check out Downfall on Kickstarter if you're interested in all. Watch the videos. I'm going to be having a preview up soon for it. But yeah, definitely an interesting game that feels like you're in the apocalypse. I played it with Trevor and my friend Guy, and afterwards we felt pretty wrecked, but we all ended up in the positive, and that was impressive. So, and we were doing things that were making the game more difficult for us than it should have been. So I might be peeling back that the game being as brutal if I play the game correctly. so yeah, definitely check out Downfall from Tasty Minstrel Games. Yeah. I want to play with more players because I don't think more players will make the length of time that much longer since all the actions are simultaneous. So it'll be pretty cool.
I have a really dumb question. Is it competitive?
It is definitely competitive. So there is combat in it as well, and the combat's very deterministic, and combat only happens if somebody plays a card to start the combat. So you can sit in the same area with other people, and combat only happens during like certain intervals in the game, or if somebody plays the card to actually make combat happen. But there's so much environmental effects going on to screw you over that I was never like, hey, I'm going to fight you for resources because I'm just barely holding on as it is. I can't fight anybody. But it might be a little bit more interesting if the map was a little bit more open and we were out in the middle where there's not the radiation constantly killing off your own guys and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely a super interesting game. I definitely felt so like I've played so many of these like Civ games and 4X games, like, and I love them. This one feels a lot different, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into our spooky games. We have a top 5 list of things we're going to talk about. But yeah, I guess we can just take turns. We have a couple of honorable mentions, and I know one of the honorable mentions Rob wanted to mention. So if you want to go ahead and list that one off.
About that Run, Fight, or Die?
Yeah.
I love that game, and that game tenses me out. It's one of the first games that I actually got to play with my wife that she actually enjoyed playing. Run, Fight, or Die is an endless wave of zombies where you have 3 tiers, level 1, level 2, level 3, and every wave or every round, zombies move up a tier. And so if you don't kill any, they just keep coming. And the first one to get 5 damage dies, or unless your character has more health. And you play the game to 2 different ways. Either you play until the first person dies. Once somebody dies, you immediately end the game. Whoever has the most points wins. Or you play until X amount of survivors have been saved. I don't think I've ever gotten that, because usually by then somebody's died, because there's these cards that you can get where you can put some of your zombies in your zone and somebody else's zone, and it's always funny how my zones fill up from everybody else's zombies real quick. So it is a blast. It's a lot of fun. It's just never ending. It's silly. It's goofy. I have the Run, Fight, or Die edition from when it was owned by Gray Fox Games, but then they sold the rights to another company. Now it's with somebody else. But still, it's a lot of fun, and it's a game that kind of stresses me out because you're doing your actions based off of dice chucking, and if you don't get the right dice and you have a wave of, like, let's say 10 plus zombies coming in, you know you're about to die.
Uh-huh.
And it's frustrating, it's annoying, and it's scary, but it's a lot of fun. And again, it's real simple. You're literally just chucking dice, making combos with the dice, rechucking dice, making combos with the dice, chucking dice, and then that's it. And so that's one of the reasons why my wife likes it. It's simplistic, it's easy, it's fun, and so Run, Fight, or Die. If you're looking for that spooky miniature game that doesn't require a lot of space, this is definitely a good one to get.
Nice. And the other honorable mention we wanted to mention was Werewolf / One Night Ultimate Werewolf, because Werewolf is a great game of social deduction, and it definitely has that spooky theme with werewolves attacking the village and all the different like seer and hunter and witch and different things like that. All these different crazy roles that are added into Werewolf have this Halloween-y feel and spooky game feel, and it's a great social deduction game.
It's fun, but it's not spooky to me.
I know, but it has that theme, you know.
Yeah, no, it has the theme, but I'm not like, oh, you know, because I know it's either you and somebody else, right? Like, you're it, and then somebody else is it with you. So it's just.
I don't necessarily think of it as like spooky. I think a lot of this is like games that build tension appropriately, because a lot of things that are generally scary, like horror movies and stuff, build a level of apprehension or tension around certain pivot points.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think of when I think of spooky stuff. It's just like, oh man, this is scary. Probably just because I have a slight level of social anxiety. So, you know, everything's kind of scary. But hey, here we go.
Yeah, well, I've definitely never been scared playing a game of Werewolf.
No, you're scared.
I just, I'm positive.
You know what?
Rob is going to accuse me for no reason.
I am.
We could play a real scary game. Let's play Cash and Guns with real guns.
Bro.
It'll be great. It'll only happen once.
I would not play with AJ.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's one game I'd tell you not to bring him.
Nice. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get into our top 5. We're going to make Rob go again on this number 5 for us.
Okay. I will do that for you. Number 5 is Zombicide or Zombicide Black Plague. Now, one of the reasons why I asked Roy and company to put this game in the group is, one, the theme fits perfectly. It's about zombies and survival. And 2, the game has stressed me out. It is kind of scary, especially if you've ever played Zombicide, when you open a room or when you open a house or a building, you then have to draw a card for every single room in that building. And so it could seem like a small building, but when you draw a card, and let's say every card has got fatties and runners and dogs and a bunch of walkers, what seemed like a small little thing could now be an almost impossible task. And so I really love the theme. I really love the game. It's one of my favorites ever. And then the new medieval twist that they have on it with Black Plague and Green Horde. But Zombicide, for a suspense, spooky-filled game, it's up there for me. It is really, really... And I love the fact that it's also co-op. So we all survive together. We all die together. It's a fantastic game.
I feel like those necromancers and abominations in Black Plague are pretty daggone spooky too. So.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, it's terrible. It's like not even in the Black Plague, but in the older edition in season 3, they have a thing called Angry Neighbors, and that's where they started to introduce the cards where if the Angry Neighbors card was drawn because of another card, you don't activate new neighbors, you just move all of the existing neighbors. And so let's say that there's a bunch of angry neighbors, which the zombies in those ones came in different colors. There was gray, brown, black, lime green, and then like a white color. The angry neighbors were one of the darker colors. If you did that, they could all be on you and they just eat you. And so it's not so much that a bunch of them spawn, they just get extra moves. And so super crazy. Like I remember when we played with that expansion when it came out.
Yeah.
We were always intense. Like, crap, please don't be an angry neighbors card. Please just be like normal zombies or toxic zombies. We'll do with the toxic zombies. But yeah, the neighbors really started to freak us out. So it's a blast. It's one of those things where it's just like never ending. It never ends. They keep coming. That's freaky.
Awesome. So Zombicide and Zombicide Black Plague is our number 5. Our number 4, I'll go into since I have the most experience with, is the Arkham Horror LCG. this is a great game that has tons of spooky, intense moments. I know you guys haven't played as much as I have, but there's an awesome like story arc as you play through the campaign, and you're always seeing all these crazy, creepy Lovecraftian monsters that are coming out and attacking you, and just the story is just eerie as you're going through the different things with cultists and weird rituals and all sorts of different stuff where you're just trying to uncover the clues and figure out what's going on. And there's like normally branching paths of ways to like solve things. Do you rescue some of the kids from the campus, or do you stop the abomination that's terrorizing everyone, or do you go over here and kill this guy before he can start doing some other stuff, or do you go over and rescue the guy that you're supposed to rescue? And all of these different things will have different outcomes and lasting effects in this card game. It's a great game that you can play solo. You can play all these different scenarios. I know that I've played like the Curse of the Rougarou with like Trevor, like one-on-one, and we played the Carnival of Horror. Me, Rob, and Hector played that one, and that was a lot of fun too. And there's just all these different scenarios where it's kind of weird, interesting stuff going on at first, and then just you'll flip over a card and crazy things are happening. So I think the storyline in this game is great, and that's why I put Arkham Horror LCG as number 4 spooky game.
Ooh.
Matt, you get to do number 3.
Number 3, Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Boom.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
It's solid. Like I don't feel like you can have a list about like horror games or Halloween games or spooky games or anything and not include Betrayal, at least somewhere in the list, because it is one of the classic, one of the quintessential.
Now, what's scarier about that game? The game itself, or my ability with Hector
to predict,
to preordain what's happening in the game?
Oh man,
Robert, the spirits of the game talking to you.
You don't know sometimes, but yes, yes they are.
I mean, I don't know. I love that game just because it's like I've played it a whole bunch, and no game has ever been anywhere even close to the same. Even when we have games where it's like, we ended up with the same, like end goal, like the same triggering event happened, and we ended up with the plants in the attic or whatever. It was still very different just because of the layout. It's usually pretty tense. Sometimes the way the setup works, you can end up with somebody being a little too powerful or whatever. But it's a very, very solid game, and if you've never tried it, definitely give it a go. Especially now with the new expansion that came out not too long ago.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about like, oh man, this thing happened and it was broken and that thing happened. Like, I feel like it still makes a crazy, interesting story, even if one side just massacres the other side. It's just interesting, the story, the way the game plays out, and who becomes the traitor and who doesn't, and how the teams get split, because you go in just exploring a haunted house and you don't know. So
see, I think it's scary. What's the scariest part of that game is the rule book. Trying to figure out, like, I feel sorry every time I play the game. Whoever ends up being like that traitor mechanic always struggles with the rule book.
That they go off by themselves?
Well, not just that, but like the rule book is not really written very well, and so there's a lot of things left up for interpretation.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a great game. The several times I've played Betrayal House on the Hill, I've had a blast. So
nice.
Yeah.
And the Betrayer Baldur's Gate game just came out, and I heard that like half of the scenarios in that one there is no traitor. Sometimes like half of the game is cooperative and the other half there's a traitor. That seems kind of interesting, but that's of course more
that'd be kind of
D&D built than the other one.
True.
But sometimes like, oh, and there's a dragon rampaging the city, so you all have to work together to fight off the dragon. That's kind of cool,
man.
Awesome. So Rob, do you want to do number 2 or number 1?
I'll do number 2.
Okay, cool.
Hey.
Number 2, spooky games. Dead of Winter. Freaking Dead of Winter. If this game does not stress you out or freak you out or something like that, then something's wrong with you, and you just live in a really, really messed up world. Dead of Winter is probably one of the games I get more stress playing that game than any other game, especially if I'm trying to win that game. It is one of the games where the whole idea of the traitor, the whole idea of the zombies, the idea that you could literally lose your best characters just because of a bad dice roll. You're just going to the store to get some milk for everybody. Boom, you're dead. You're just going to go get some medicine for Johnny who's sick. Boom, you're dead. Just because of a freaking dice.
I'm pocketing the medicine.
I ever played the game, I was the very first player, and the very first roll ever, 10 seconds into playing the game, I rolled the tooth. And those that play Dead of Winter, you know what the tooth is. I love it. It is such a fantastic theme, and it's such a fantastic spook because it takes the paranoia that you already have for each other, especially that we have for Roy, and it just amplifies it even more. Just because everything that happens, you're now going to immediately dissect what everybody else does. You're immediately going to try to go around and try to understand, okay, who's going to do X, who's going to help out, and you try to trick each other. You try to trick them into being your friend, into not being the traitor. And so I absolutely love it. Dead of Winter, if you are playing any game, I would say play this game over the number one. But this is that spook game for me. Dead of Winter, number 2, spooky game.
Nice. And the number 1, I feel, deserves it because the ambiance and feel that this game gives you for spookiness, not to mention the story, is just crazy. It's all sorts of different scenarios. This is Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. As you're playing the game, and the application is helping narrate through the game. Like each time you go into a new scenario, it narrates out the creepy prologue of the adventure that you're setting up to, and you're slowly revealing different tiles, and crazy things are happening. Maybe rooms are shifting around because dimensions are breaking up. Maybe there's things that are haunting you and following you as you go through the different scenarios. Maybe you're trying to escape a town because all the townspeople are trying to get rid of you and get you out of there. I don't know. There's just tons of different scenarios that are all sorts of different creepy things that can happen in the Lovecraftian game of Mansions of Madness. It is my favorite cooperative game of all time, but it definitely gives you like those creepy vibes as you're playing stuff. Rob, you were saying you played this once and you're like, I might sleep with the lights on tonight.
Yeah, it was one of the very first times I played the game.
Yeah.
It was just the idea of everything that had to go on in the game.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, like when you really thought about it, man, it's some messed up stuff. But I think the problem that I have now with Mansions of Madness, I love it. It's still my favorite game of all time. But like, if that were to happen in real life, I feel like I'd be okay. Is that bad? Like,
what?
I feel like, you know what? I know what to do. There's going to be a cultist altar somewhere. We need to go stop this thing. Like, okay, guys, like, we can figure this out. Yeah, that's just a Shoggoth. We can kill the Shoggoth. You pick up the dynamite. Like it doesn't stress me out. Like, I feel like a Mansions of Madness pro at this time in my life, where it's like, okay. And I think the reason why I feel that way with Mansions of Madness over Dead of Winter is because, especially now with the new Mansions of Madness, unless your guy goes crazy, it is a complete co-op game.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's one of those things, I know it's me and my team versus the game.
Gotcha.
Where in Dead of Winter, it is not a complete co-op game. And even though it is, for the most part, a co-op game, my team may not have my best interests in mind because they need to have their best interests to not get the Diet Coke win. Yeah. And so, but Mansions of Madness, I think, is such a fantastic game. The theme for spookiness, especially with the new app, is on point. Yeah. They got the scary music. They got the things shifting. They have the ghosts appearing. I mean, it's a fantastic and wonderful game. I just feel like if Cthulhu were to pop up, I feel like I'd have a shot. I'm not saying I'd make it, but I'd have a shot.
You think you've won too many games of Mansions?
I would know. I would kind of know what to do. Okay. One, I would not follow Ryan anywhere, regardless of what Ryan would say. Would never follow Ryan. And I would go solve the clues and take care of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Love the game.
But yeah, it's definitely super awesome, and it definitely gives that whole vibe of creepiness, especially when you think about the different stories. I'm pretty sure if it happened in real life, I would go mad. But good
I'll
times.
protect you.
Yeah, I'd run if I saw Shoggoth. It'd
Yeah.
be fun. Good times. Cool. Well, we have a few different little questions here. Do you have any stories about playing spooky games you'd like to share with the podcast?
Stand in strength or in game strength. Win game. That's all I gotta say, man.
But did that help us win the game?
It
Yes.
didn't hurt us.
But Matt sure was buff after that.
Bro, Matt was so buff after that.
Matt's in there like lifting weights, and we're like, dude, we gotta bury a body. He's like, too busy.
Man, it's like
Dude,
it's
we
like
gotta like make a bucket brigade so we can pass off this body. You're like, don't worry about it.
Oh, and Roy, you were getting pissed. You were like, Matt, come on, get out of the basement, do this thing. I'm running for my life because Hector's chasing me. I can't
was
do
like-
anything. And
exactly.
Matt's just sitting there. What are you gonna do this turn, Matt? I'm
It
just
was
gonna stay right
okay
here."
for one
I mean,
round.
to be fair, I was moving around. I was doing things. I was just always coming back to that room.
Ugh, that
I
was
always ending
hilarious.
there so I could get that strength, man.
I could be a secret cultist, board game renegade, but if I told you, it wouldn't be a secret. So, am I?
Spooky.
Clever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Speaking of clever, this is what I would say. What's the name of my captain on the card?
Oh man, that's not even a spooky game though.
I know,
because
but remember that was an awesome mind. That was
Absolutely.
awesome mind mend.
like for a moment I was like, "What is he talking about?" And I was just like, "Oh, not his." Yep, GG.
Nice.
Me, I don't have like a lot of spooky games. Like one time when I was a kid, and this is not my scary story because I do have a scary story, but one time when I was a kid, my older brother and sister locked me in the basement and they put a Ouija board in there. I will tell you that the basement door lost that battle. So that's like the closest thing to like a board game that like really scared me or freaked me out or something like that. Outside of that one time playing Mansions of Madness, and I was just like, I don't know. I went home and I really thought about the whole scenario, and I was like, man, that's like really messed up. Like what
It's
they're trying to
weird.
do. It's just really weird. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Awesome. Well, do you have a favorite spooky movie or show?
yes, and it's getting ready to come back on.
I knew it. I was like,
Stranger
Obviously,
Things.
this question was almost like put in here just so we should talk about that.
So excited for Stranger Things season 2.
yeah.
I will not be there Friday night now. Yeah, I will be watching Stranger Things season 2.
You won't have finished it by then?
No, I've got to work. I've got to go to bed early. And plus, like, they don't put it on until like 3 or 4 in the morning. I don't think it's like right at midnight where it gets released. It's always like that morning of the day. And so like that night, I'm dedicating that night to the show. If I do come, Roy, it'll be like really early. I'm gonna play like a quick game, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce to go play.
Nice. I thought we were
A
just
Ouija
gonna.
board cursor flew out of your hands and hit your chest once.
Yeah.
And then
There-
Ashley was like, only a few days to go. Oh, she's talking about Stranger Things. I was like, a few days ago that happened. Ashley, no.
That's one of the things that I saw at Target is that who was it? Hasbro or Mattel or whoever it is that has, I think it's Hasbro, got the license to Stranger Things. And what did they do with it? They made a Ouija board
Ouija
board game. What? Why? Ouija boards are dumb. There's two options with Ouija boards. Either they're fake or they're real, and both is terrible.
Well, that's a different discussion. I would say that real. It's just who's using them. But we don't have to get into all that stuff. But I am, yeah. Yep. I'm not a fan of them. I don't play with them.
Chat's creeped out. Chat's creeped
I don't mess with Ouija boards and that stuff. Just because I personally do believe that stuff is real.
Well, you got
And,
locked in a closet. I'm sure there's trauma there.
Yeah. All right, man. What's the next question?
Change it up. Cool. Matt, did you have a favorite show or movie that's spooky?
Alien.
Oh yeah.
The first one was Sigourney.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
good. It builds
That
tension
was-
in a very, very interesting way.
Nice.
Like I went into that movie knowing basically everything about it, and I still got done with it, and I was like, "Woo, yeah, all
Yeah.
right, that's good."
And what's the tagline? They can't hear you scream in space.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Man, that ending I didn't exactly know about, but whoo, is yeah, man, just good through and through. Solid movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but I like the Mothman Prophecies movie. Have you seen that?
Is that the one with Deborah Messing in it?
I don't know actors and actresses.
She's like redheaded. It's like there's like a car accident, and then somebody starts seeing the Mothman, and then the bridge starts to collapse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it has the guy from he was Officer and a Gentleman, that movie.
Yeah.
Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not see the Mothman Prophecies. It has the girl from Will and
It's just like
Grace,
a
the
thriller.
redhead.
Yeah,
she's-
Deborah Messing.
Yeah. Yeah, never saw it. You know what movies really freaked me out? They don't freak me out so much anymore, but the Paranormal Activity movies.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It was the very first after I saw the very first
Did you just
Paranormal
lay awake in bed?
for 2 weeks, bro.
Dude, that's intense.
2 weeks. And not to get all religious or anything like that, but on the way home, Wow Worship 19 was on. I had like TBN on all the TVs in the house, like just everything positive and happy, and just loving on God, and just like, hey man,
Did you lean a Bible
Hey,
against
man.
every door or something like that?
just you know what? You're just so great. You're so great. I love you. Don't let that happen to me, please. But anyway, I'm not afraid of it anymore like I once was. I've grown up a little bit in my faith, so that stuff doesn't bother me anymore. But yeah, the Paranormal Activity movies, bro. That really, like, I have not been that scared in a long time.
It's kind of
And-
crazy how like spooky stuff like that doesn't like you can like walk through your house at night all the time no matter what, and then you like watch a movie or you think about something creepy and you're like
No more walking.
Every little sound your house makes then it's just like what was that?
Strategically turn off the lights so like you're always in a room that's lit.
You know
or
when
if
the
not-
air conditioning comes on and it slams the door and you're used to it all the time, except right after you watch the scary movie, and then it happens when the air conditioner comes on and the door slams, you're like, what was that?
Here's the thing. I've got a funny story about an air conditioning and scary ghosts, but we can talk about that later. Even though that's not my scary
We've
story.
got that as the next question, so go ahead and
Yeah.
tell us your... You can tell us your air conditioning story.
Are you okay with this, Matt?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so listen. So my wife and I, we used to go ghost hunting and stuff like that.
Oh man.
Okay.
And we went when we lived in Arkansas. There's this famous hotel, the Excelsior Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And the problem with this hotel is it was owned by a guy during World War II who had the education equivalent of a third grader, but he wanted to be a surgeon. And so he would like cut open people's heads and put cantaloupe or watermelon on it to see if the natural juices of these fruits could fix tumors and cancer. Or if you were a convict and let's say somebody had cancer in their left arm, he would come in and chop off your left arm and attach it onto that person saying, well, now they're cured of cancer and stuff like that. And so naturally, hundreds and hundreds of people had died at this place, which was a hospital and now was converted into a hotel. So my wife and I, we went to this place and they'll do, haunted tour guides and all that kind of stuff. And so we're going on this tour guide and I'm taking pictures and I actually caught a picture of a face.
Yeah.
No, first of all, that's not most of Arkansas. Arkansas is great.
Arkansas is just all haunted. Just all
He's talking
ghosts.
about like stupid people. I get what he's trying to say.
Chopping arms
Like,
off.
Or just, let's cantaloupes will fix it. Anyway.
Cantaloupes will fix it.
So anyway, so we're going on this haunted tour, and I'm looking through pictures, and I actually caught a face in one of the pictures. But so I'm freaking out, and I can't sleep because I just can't get the idea of this picture of this face looking back at me and my pictures out of my head. And my wife, she's hardcore, bro. She's like, no, that doesn't bother her, and so she's out in sleep. Well, in the middle of the night, one of the things that they say, if a spirit is in your presence, it'll get really cold.
Yeah.
It's like it's touching you. Well, all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, I felt like this super cold presence just come over my chest. And it started to freak me out. Would you buy a house at a discount price if you knew a family was murdered in it? We can talk about that because that's actually my scary story. I have sold haunted houses.
How big's the discount? That's the question.
So all of a sudden I'm laying in bed and this cold presence is pushing down on my chest and I start freaking out and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Oh my God.
You
and I
didn't pull
start
the
to shake
blanket
my
up
wife.
or?
No, I'm just laying there. I'm almost paralyzed because I don't know what's going on. I'm not sleeping. I'm paranoid. I'm thinking, is this person? What's going on? Well, I like try to wake up my wife and she like rolls over and hits me and is like, shut up, like grow a pair, like you're fine. Well, and then eventually it goes away. Well, and then a couple of hours later, it comes back again, and I still haven't slept. And now it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I'm scared to death. Well, eventually it goes away again, and I did not sleep at all. And by 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm still lying there awake, and I look over at my wife, and she's now starting to wake up naturally, and she's like, hey babe, what's up? And I was like, I did not sleep at all. I still haven't gone to bed. And she's like, what's wrong? What's going on? I was like, babe, you're not going to believe me. You're not going to believe me, but remember that face? I think that spirit came to visit me twice last night. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, babe, all of a sudden in the middle of the night, all of a sudden I felt this really cold pressure just come across my chest and just push down on me. And I just got super still. I didn't know what to do. I started freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh, really? That happened? And I was like, yeah. And so as we're talking, as I'm telling her about this, all of a sudden I start to feel this cold pressure come on my chest again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Marlo, put your hand right here on my chest. Put your hand right here. It's happening again. And so I lay down and she puts her hand on my chest and she's like, yeah, I feel it. It's cold. Yeah, it's cold. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's happening? And she says, why don't you look at the ceiling, you idiot? There's the air vent. The air conditioning's turning on. And so it was the air that was turning on throughout the night that was just pressing down on my chest. Not a ghost. So
that's awesome.
Absolutely what I was hoping for when they ended.
That's awesome.
Yes. So that's my funny, not scary story.
So guys, watch out for the evil air conditioning units.
It's just the AC guys.
They come to visit you at night, man. Pull that blanket up tighter.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would not buy a house.
If anything, that's just a solid marketing gimmick by the haunted house operators.
Well, I should have seen it because like the vent is right over my face.
On a 52.
The vent is like literally right over my face, and I'm looking up at it. I'm just not putting two and two together because I'm thinking, nope, face, ghosts, dead people, cantaloupes, Arkansas. I'm gonna die. Just
now, if the cold air smelled like cantaloupe, you would know,
bro. Okay, that would be an amazing marketing piece if it did smell like cantaloupe. Yeah. And what was great too is like that whole weekend. We didn't plan on going. It was one of those when we didn't have kids. It was spontaneous.
Yeah.
We were just like, hey, let's just go up for the weekend. And the only room they had available was the like governor's suite. And so like we had this like 1,800 square foot suite to ourselves. And it had like 2 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, a bar, a kitchen, all this stuff. And so like this was actually the room that the guy who was the doctor, that was his office. So he didn't perform surgeries in there, but like this is where he lived in the hospital. And so anyway, that's what was going on. So
good times. Hey Matt, do you have any crazy stories?
You're
like logic.
I think the
Reason,
worst I've ever
skepticism.
been messed up was like I remember I was at a cabin in super rural Virginia where I can't get cell phone reception, period. The closest town is about 15 minutes down a mountain. And even then, it doesn't have like a hospital or anything like that. It's like 45 minutes to the next big city, which is Bristol, Virginia. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting there. It's just me, my girlfriend, and my stepbrother. He's like, man, let's watch the movie The Strangers, where people just commit a home invasion at a house in the middle of nowhere with burlap sacks over their face. So we watch that. We get done. This cabin is full of windows, and they have no curtains on any of them. So I'm just walking around going, I'm going to see somebody with a bag over their head outside, and I'm going to just lose my whole mind. And it was a very odd situation because it's just super quiet. And it was one of the few times that I haven't, like, I've genuinely been like, I don't necessarily feel safe per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. When I was a small child, I used to get scared a whole lot, so I've been slowly tempering my resolve to that. I'm still not a big fan of scary movies.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I went to one of those haunted house things a while ago, and it was one of those like, okay, here we go. This might be scary, and wasn't at all. And I was like, oh, okay, look at me growing up as a person.
Last time I went to a haunted house, I punched the first guy that jumped out at me. And they tell you, please don't touch the actors. They're all volunteers.
Yeah.
I was in the middle, and the stupid kid touched my arm, and I punched him. I felt terrible. He dropped. He didn't come. I tell you what, he didn't touch my arm again.
I love those haunted houses. I just like, hey, sup, man? What's going on?
I know.
If you ignore them, they don't scare you. It sucks. Like they need to try harder. They always just go after the people who are already scared. I'm like, no, it's your job to scare me. Do it.
The what was it? The one time I went, most of it wasn't scary at all. But they had this thing where you get on like basically like a tractor, but you're on like the trailer bit of it, and they're hauling you to the next portion of the spooky bit of the woods, and they have some jump scares, while you're there.
Yeah.
And the thing that scared me was I was sitting there talking to my girlfriend at the time about like, oh, okay, this isn't too bad. I'm okay with this. And like a guy literally just kind of pops his head in between us, and like I just did not see him at all. And he's like, hey guys, and that's all he said. He didn't scream. And I was like, oh goodness, hi, how are you, man?
They always get you with the jump scares.
Man, that was
hey,
crazy.
Roy, is Atomic Empire in Raleigh?
Yeah, it's a little bit south of Raleigh. It's like where Durham is.
Yeah.
There's a guy in chat saying he's moving to Raleigh.
There's several awesome game stores over there. I think there's another one called like Player's Choice or something like that too. But yeah, Atomic Empire is definitely the best.
Scary stories, Roy? Because I've got some scary stories.
So I'll go with mine. Mine, I don't know. I had silly stuff happen when I was a kid, like at sleepovers and stuff, which now obviously was just the other kids playing jokes and crap like that, which wasn't really scary.
Or were they?
Like we had this whole thing where like we were done talking about spooky stuff and scary stuff and demons and crap like that, and then like we kept hearing noises at night. And we were calling it the Lego demon because Legos were flying all over the place just because one of the kids was throwing Legos around the room. But we always told tales of the Lego demon. But for me, mostly I've had several episodes of like sleep paralysis happen before, and that crap is pretty terrifying when it happens. When like you wake up and you open your eyes and there's like terrifying ghostly like men in black or like demon looking things over your bed, and you're just like but you realize it's because you're still half asleep and you have to like end up waking up. But yeah, I've had that happen a couple times. The one time that it really freaked me out was when like I had one of those nightmares or whatever, and then woke up, and then the next morning like Heather said she had a nightmare too, like the same night, because we were sleeping in different beds. Like I was in the guest bedroom for some reason that night, I think because she had gone to bed early and I didn't want to wake her up, so I'd gone to the guest bedroom and slept there, and we were in different bedrooms, but we both had like nightmares that same night. And like
was it the same like verbatim same nightmare?
I think she had like different weird stuff going on, so it wasn't like the exact same thing, but it was still pretty creepy. But yeah,
man,
good times. I also had like sleep paralysis before, or like a nightmare like that before, where like I woke up. This was at my old house, and I looked down and at the foot of the bed and saw like an alien guy, and he like ran out the window. It's like really creepy stuff. So
you saw an alien guy at the foot of your bed run out a window?
Like our bed was here, and then our guest bedroom was across the hall. And
in your current house?
No, not in our current house. In
okay.
In the condo we used to live in. And like I woke up, and you know that whole sleep paralysis thing where like your body isn't like awake yet, so you can't like really move, or you're like kind of paralyzed in fear a little bit. But when you're asleep, your body like sends chemicals to make it so your muscles don't move, so you don't hit stuff as much in your sleep if you're having crazy dreams. Well, you can wake up, but like some of the dream juice is still like in your head, and you can see,
Bro,
like,
that wasn't
hallucinate a
dream
little bit.
juice.
But you look
You
at
had that climbing in my windows guy. He's climbing in my windows.
Yeah, exactly.
Snatching people up.
But yeah, I saw like one of the typical like X-Files gray aliens like at the foot of the bed, and when I looked at him, like he went down the hallway and like through the window and was gone. And then like
was the window open, or like
no, it was closed.
Teleported through the window?
It just went through the window, you know. Creepy stuff. But yeah.
Bro, you got touched by a gray alien.
But yeah, I used to have like nightmares about aliens when I was a kid too. It was like super weird.
They got all their probing done while they were young. They don't need to mess with you
I'm pretty
anymore.
sure. Like I remember laying in bed. I had like when I was a kid, I used to lay in bed like with the covers over me and be like thinking that things couldn't see me if I was hiding under the covers or something. I don't know. Really creepy. Yeah. But I had a dream where I was in my room and I was with my mom, but she was like super young. And like I looked over to the window and saw a whole bunch of like alien faces looking in the window. And I looked back at my mom. I was like, "What was that?" And she's like, "I don't know, but if I were you, I'd stay away from that window." And like as a kid, this was literally like when I was like 7 or 8, I had this dream. And so like I was like terrified like to go to bed at night sometimes because of that crap. But I was just like, it was just nightmares. Nightmares happen, you know. It's not that big a deal.
Man.
But that's my creepy stories. So, but it's all easily explained away with weird sleep stuff. Maybe I ate some weird pizza.
Drugs.
Never done drugs or alcohol.
Sure, just it all makes sense.
There's supposedly an old wives' claim if you eat cheese before you go to bed, you have more vivid and intricate
Bro,
dreams.
you must have the craziest dreams, Matt.
I typically don't dream a lot at all, actually.
Ashley in chat said she's jealous because she's never seen anything that would make her think that aliens exist. I haven't seen anything that would make me think aliens exist either. So
now I hate to sound
aliens
stereotypical,
exist.
But it's because if aliens landed in Australia, they're dead immediately.
Those drop bears, the drop bears will get them.
That's the wrong place to come down.
Cheese dreams are real. Love this. Walt is the king of creepy stories. Man, we should do that like a creepy get together.
Awesome. Well, Rob, tell us your last creepy story.
So listen, like, not to get too crazy into things, but I've been able to see things since I was like a little kid, even while I'm awake, not sleep paralysis or anything like that, but anyway, I see things.
It's the LSD.
It is. Yeah, my mom, she was a big user, and I've just had that residual acid in my body for forever. But anyway, it was actually, this story I'm going to tell is going to be shortly after I moved to North Carolina. I was working on a property for a client who wanted to sell a house, and the house was vacant, and all we knew about it was that the family custom built this house. They were the sole owners of this home, and nobody else had lived in this house besides this family. And so we were in there doing some work for them. And I was in the house one day by myself. I was doing some painting, and all of a sudden this woman presents herself to me. And it's an older woman, and she is wearing like old clothing, and she is mad that I'm there. She does not like the fact that I am there. And she makes it very known to me. I do not stay in the house long. I'm like, all right, bye. And so I jump out of the house, which, of course, I have to go back to the house and finish what I was doing. But where she would present herself to me was either in the basement or on the second floor. On the first floor, like, I would feel her watching me and following me and stuff. But anytime I saw this woman, I would be either upstairs in the second floor, I would be in the basement, working in the basement, cleaning it out and stuff like that. So one day, I am there with some contractors who are doing some chimney work upstairs in the second floor, and I'm outside just because this day I'm getting some like crazy vibes in the house, and I'm like, nope, can't go in this house. Just not feeling it today. Not going to happen. And all of a sudden, the contractors come running outside, and they're like, "Hey, man, are you just sitting there slamming doors?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So they're like, "Man, we just need to take a break. Somebody's in this bedroom upstairs, and they just keep slamming this door." And yeah, we'll go back in if you go back in. And I was like, let's just go grab lunch. Let's take a break. So contractors literally left. When they came back to do the chimney work, they would not go inside that room to access this one point. They actually worked harder to work on the outside of the house to try to fix it from the outside in rather than working easier from the inside out. Well, and so this house, some crazy stuff is happening at this house. And so time goes on, the house is ready, we put the house on the market, we're doing an open house. And while we're doing an open house, which an open house you typically do on Sunday nights or Sunday afternoons, and you open the house for a couple of hours to let the public come in and get a look at the house and see what's going on. This little kid, it's like 12 years old, comes walking up to me, and my mom is there too. And she's like, this little kid walks up to us and he's like, "Has somebody died in this house?" And we're like, "Not that we know of." He was like, "There's a really sad woman in this house. Somebody died in this house," and just walks away. And we're like, "What?" Like, and we're talking to other clients like, "Hey, this house is great. You should buy this house, XYZ, blah, blah, blah." And the kid interrupts our conversation to ask if anybody died in the house, and there's a really sad woman in the house. Well, and then like 15 minutes have passed, and this kid has been in the basement the whole time. I'm talking to another client. The kid comes back up, and he's like, "Yeah, that woman, she's down there. She doesn't like you. You sure somebody hasn't died in this house?" And we're like, "As far as we know, nobody's died in the house."
Who was the kid? Their kid?
No idea. Never seen the kid before. Have not seen the kid since.
Why? Wait, you were showing the house, and the kid was just wandering around the house?
I'm doing an open house, so it's common to have the public just walk in and out of the house. And now this kid did walk out with an older woman, and so I think he was there with his grandma. The grandma was looking around. Usually people come to my open houses to eat free food and then they leave. And so then as the kid's walking out, I follow the kid out of the house because I'm like, "Bro, like, are you okay? Is everything fine?" And then the grandma just starts like shaking her head like, "Oh, he's weird. Don't worry about him." And he's like, "Yeah, there's a woman in that house. She doesn't like you." And I'm like, "Oh, great. Like, thanks. Fantastic." And so that house eventually, like a couple weeks later, went under contract and it did sell. But that was just one of the weirdest experiences because I've never had contractors actually leave the job before for something.
Yeah.
Like I've always been seeing stuff. I've been seeing stuff since I was a little kid. But again, like this was where like multiple parties, and then like they came up to my mom, they did other stuff, and it was just like, okay, like, yeah, this stuff is really happening. So
when you saw the lady or whatever, what did it look like?
It was well, of course she was like all white, not white as in herself.
So she didn't look like normal person. It was like,
no, I knew
was it
she
like
was dead.
ghosty looking,
Yeah.
like translucent, or like
Yeah. But she was all white and very gray, almost like a black and white movie. Very gray, and she made herself known to me. Now I don't believe it was ghost. I believe it was demon. I also believe it was demon because the eyes turned red. Typically, when it's a demonic entity, the eyes will turn red or yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And in this circumstances, the eyes turned red, which means they're typically more hostile. When they're yellow, a lot of times they just want to let their presence be known. And they're letting you know that they have ownership of that area. But when they're red, a lot of times is when they're showing hostility. And so it's just like, okay, like this woman was just, this demonic presence was not happy that I was there. And I understand, I'm an amazing guy. I love God. It was mad that I love God. And so I was like, get out of my house. And I was like, no, I'm going to sell this house, make some money, buy board games. So anyway, yeah, I've had people ask me to do exorcisms on their house since then. And I have done them. on their houses before, and I'm a part of a group of people at my church actually that help out with that kind of stuff as well. So that stuff now, is not so much of an issue for me because I know how to combat it and how to deal with it. But at the time, especially when I was younger, growing up, some crazy stuff going on. But Roy, you definitely got probed.
Yeah. Nice. Explains a lot, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Crazy. I wonder if it'll be too creepy if I need to be like, disclaimer, watch out, Rob's stories are so creepy, you can't go any further unless you know what you're getting into.
I'm not. Well, you said a scary story.
I know. I loved it. And that's crazy.
And Mark Noah's not another buyer's kid that bought the house 10% under market value. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Adam Sparks, you're hilarious about the peppers. Good.
Awesome,
good
man.
Stuff.
So that was our creepy stories. Was anybody in chat creeped out? No? Okay.
No.
So back to board games. What kind of spooky game would you like to see published? What do you think they could do to make a game feel more spooky?
The only thing I like to see that's maybe spooky is I'd love to see like a Stranger Things type of game.
Like a real Stranger Things type of game?
Yeah, like
not
real
an
Stranger
Eggo
Things.
Uno's type of game?
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know what they would do. Yeah. Personally. I mean,
Yeah. What do you think, like, I was thinking about, like, what if Mansions of Madness had strategic jump scares added into the game? Into the application.
but they already kind of do though. Like when
Well,
you
if
open
they
up certain
had-
doors when certain things happen.
Right, but if they had, like, really loud, like, I know they have some loud sounds when events happen, but if they had, like, really loud sounds or had, like, pictures of, like, okay, this monster appears and it, like, flashes up the picture with a loud sound or something, like they added a jump scare into the app, or, like, you're sitting there, like, trying to read the combat situation and then, like, jump scare. I'm sure they might break people's phones if that happened, but I think it'd be crazy if you're, like, sitting there reading, it's like, okay, so he attacks you with his venomous sludge, and so you have to roll 2 dice, and it, like, jumps and scares you. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of crazy.
I personally find anything that gets real loud real fast to be incredibly annoying. But that's just me.
Right. I'm sure it could be something that would be turned off, could be turned on, toggled on or off or something like that. But it'd be interesting if it happened and you didn't know it was there. Like they had just one scenario was like the jump scare scenario, and they introduced it in like this one scenario, and you'd played the game a whole bunch of times and you didn't realize it was going to happen, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa. I don't know. It'd be kind of funny. I would be afraid as Fantasy Flight, though, that somebody would drop their iPad and then get super mad that they threw their iPad, like, ah! Throw the iPad across the room. Good times.
Adam's talking about all of his alcohol-related supernatural experiences.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff.
Hey, man, Adam, the spirits only want to mess with you when they know that you have an excuse that's not real.
Hey, what's another crazy story? And this takes like 10 seconds. Not 10 seconds, but my mom, when she was living in upstate New York, was asked by this investor to sell this old like retirement community place. But it was like a retirement home, but it was like for like nice retirement homes. Like it had pools, it had fine dining, it had restaurants, had all this kind of stuff. And one day somebody died on site. And then within a week, everybody was gone. Like the place emptied out and they left everything. Like when she tried to sell it like years and years and years later, all the laundry was still there. All the silverware, all of everything was still there. It's like literally the person died and everyone just got up and bounced. They were like, I'm done. That was kind of freaky for her. And she had contractors leave that place. Like she couldn't get people like for yard maintenance. She could never keep yard maintenance people. She was like, that people are always watching her and stuff like that. But that's kind of freaky when like you have this community of like 100+ people that are constantly living there that has like all this stuff, and then they're just gone. They just all left. Yeah.
It's like a ghost retirement home.
It is now.
Like
Like
quite literally.
But I mean, I know we're talking about ghost stuff. So I really don't like ghosts or scary stuff.
Right.
I deal with it the way that I deal with it. And so, like, I don't really think about what scary thing I'd want. I don't see Stranger Things as scary. To me, it's intense.
Right.
But yeah.
But it's not real. It's a show.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
I think narrative in board games and getting you into the story helps with the game feeling spooky and stuff like that. Like just some of the dialogue in some of the games can make it feel interesting and creepy or whatever.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Matt? Are there any specific mechanics or any kind of spooky game you would love to see them come out with?
I don't know. I feel like this is going to come back to the same thing we always talk about, where it's reverse Spectre Ops, the slasher game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think that would be pretty cool. It wouldn't necessarily have a whole lot of narrative stuff, but I think the tension in it would be pretty solid.
I love like thriller type stuff. Like I feel like narrative and stuff and like that can make it awesome, but I wouldn't necessarily want to have like a horror board game that just is more like gruesome and bloody or horrific sort of thing. I don't know. That's not a thing that I'm into. So cool. Awesome, guys. Well, I guess this pretty much can close out our spooky games podcast. We stream these Tuesday night at 9 p.m. at youtube.com/Epic Gaming Night. We do want to say thank you so much to our amazing patrons who help make the show possible. And we do want to thank our patron of the week. Are you down for this, Rob?
I think I am down for this. Are you ready? You want me to go?
Let's do it.
Listen, man. You know what is scary? What's scary is how amazing this person is. What's also scary is trying to pronounce this person's last name. That's what's scary.
I think I have
making sure I do justice. I can't like really get excited because my throat starts to close up, so I'm going to try to do this as hype as possible, but without getting super. Listen, this person is so hardcore. They made a hurricane calm down and leave their state. This person is so freaking amazing that freaking Hurricane Irma said, "My bad, Liz. Let me bounce." I'm talking about Liz. That's right, Liz. Liz.
Stankovictus is my guess.
Stankovicius. Liz. Liz. How about Liz? You know what? You know what's scary? Not being in Liz's life. That's what's freaking scary. I don't want to go through this life knowing that I did not have the chance to meet Liz. That's what's freaky to me. You know what's a spooky game? Not having the opportunity to get a letter from Liz saying that I am her favorite podcaster and that I'm the most handsome, most greatest, most awesomest thing ever. Actually, she didn't say any of that at all. But still, that's what's scary, is not having Liz in my life. I think Liz is absolutely fantastic. She is the captain of captains. She is the queen of queens. Liz is freaking the man. She is so amazing as a woo man. She is the man. Liz, you are one of the greatest things that has happened to our podcast. We appreciate you. We love you. You make me feel safe. When ghosts come to me and they're like, boo, I'm like, Liz, think of it. That's what I say. And they just
if you could say it right, they'd run off.
No, they still just leave. I just have to start with the st, and they know what's coming, and they leave. And so I never had to fully pronounce it before. But Liz, Stankovicius, Stankovicius. I'm not trying to push your name. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But you are freaking amazing, Liz. Next time my wife yells at me, I'm like, listen, woman, I'm going to have Liz come teach you some respect. Liz, she knows what she's freaking doing. Liz, this woman, you know what? You know what happens? The boogeyman consults her. That's how scary she is. And it's scary because she's freaking awesome. Liz, you are my captain. You are the best. You are beautiful and gorgeous, and we're glad that you're safe. We are so glad that you are safe and sound, and we are glad that you punked Irma. I mean, you literally punked Irma. You said, "Hold on, world, I've got to send Robert Newman this freaking Game of Thrones figurines. Chill out, Irma." And it chilled. Irma left. Irma became your hoe. You hoed a hurricane. That's the kind of patrons we have. I don't care what other podcasts have. I don't care what other Patreon websites have. We have patrons that punk hurricanes. Screw you, other podcasts. We have Liz Stank of
Chat's just asking you to continue to try the last name because it's hilarious. Thanks so much, Liz. You're amazing.
Yes, very much.
Well, thanks everybody who supports us on Patreon. If you would like to help out the podcast, make sure to check us out at patreon.com/Epic Gaming Night. It goes to help out the show and helps us continue to do what we're doing and come out with new awesome stuff. Hype! So thanks so much for everybody joining us. Make sure to check out, we have a Roy versus Rob Ashes video, which is going to be going up on the Dice Tower tomorrow. So that's super exciting. Also, make sure to check out all of our episodes of Favorite Game Friday. Favorite Game Friday has been running for like one whole year. And last Friday, we just put up our favorite game, spooky games, on there. So a theme going on with Epic Gaming Night this week. We did spooky games as our very first episode ever because Favorite Game Friday is 1 year old as of last Friday. So super exciting stuff. So thanks everybody for joining the podcast. Hype.
Yeah.
Where did Rob go? We lost Rob. No.
It's okay.
It was going so good. He got so excited about Liz that it just died. It just died. Does it even say he's online? No, it says he's away. He left. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody in
He couldn't
chat.
take it anymore, man. He just had to go. Liz was too powerful.
You guys have been crazy in chat. It's been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah. Jeremiah was saying that we should go on a ghost thing with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing that I do. Yeah. I just have to play up the super skepticism the whole time to keep myself sane. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go, man.
No, it's all good. But yeah, it was pretty fun. I thought our stories were pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
hopefully we won't have any more next time. But yeah, I tried to add Rob back so he could say bye to everybody, but he appears to not be online. So I'm sorry, all you guys out there, but I think the AC got him. The cold must have got to him. Adam says he's hyperventilating on the floor. He's trying Garth says he's trying desperately to breathe while curled beneath the AC vent. Oh, you guys are the best. Oh, Liz says he's outside her door right now.
There you go.
Nice. Awesome, guys. Well, we'll see you next time. You guys are the best. Did he say something? No?
His computer froze.
Odo, guys. See you next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
Good night.